My name is Monica White. I'm going to informative speech over what does climate change affect. Climate change brings forth destructions across crops, animals, and even us. The reason for this being is that there is too much carbon dioxide being released. Climate change is also known as global warming. It is responsible for when the world gets hotter, gets colder, you get these weird long firestorms or glaciers melting, floods, thunderstorms. They even dry up the land. I got a whole bunch of different scenarios all in one picture right here. Can you see that? Got a whole bunch of scenarios all in one picture. We got the flood, we got the fires, the wildfires, the drought from plants staying in longer, sucking up all the moisture. We got rising sea levels, which affect the animals that live in it and us. We got the glaciers melting, stronger currents, and of course thunderstorms due to more rain. Okay, let's get back on topic. Climate change is more intricate than stated. It affects the aspects of the world, increases the threat of waterborne diseases as well as insect and rodent diseases. Like the hotter it is, the more mosquitoes there are. More mosquitoes, the more blood they suck on and transmit it around, the more prone you are to getting a disease from a mosquito biting you and getting into your blood and stuff. According to Rob Jordan, as it gets hotter, the mosquitoes get out their habitat and then they go around places that they wouldn't be. So diseases that's prone to like one place is going to be moving to another place, which is going to lead to like a spread, a pandemic, kind of like COVID, because they're not used to that. They don't got no stuff to fight against it. Their bodies is new to this. It also can be responsible for rising sea levels and other stuff like that. And like I said, the rain we receive, it can be responsible for rising sea levels, rain we receive, all that. Our health as well as other creatures' health is both affected by this. And you wonder how it's both affected by this. Other than the diseases, there are many other ways that it can affect us. With more rainstorms, it leads to more power outages. More power outages mean that our power goes out in like the worst of times. You could be in a hospital or something. You could be performing surgery. The power comes off, boom. You ain't nothing you do then. It's a sad story. With more rainstorms, I already said that. As we start to notice these natural occurrences, not only our physical state becomes tired, the mental state becomes tired. It leads to depression. It leads to anxieties. Some people even commit suicide over it. And it makes sense. If you're in a trauma, if you have a trauma to where you like just barely survived, or you seen, your friend or something pass away due to like a flood or something, and you had to survive, that world will mess with your brain. And it could create these kind of traumas. As we jobs that require working in heat, like farming, I guess any job related to farming or maybe even construction, could be prone to like less workers because it's more dangerous. The hotter it is, means you can get heat stroke. We don't want a chance heat stroke. And not even that, the longer you out there, the more chance you have to get a disease from the mosquitoes and the rodents and all that, because you're going to be outside. It's flu season also. So it's got stuff that's going out in the air. You're more prone to all of this working outside, so it makes less workers for farmers and other outside jobs. It makes it more dangerous. Less people try to acquire it. How are plants affected by this? As season prolongs, plants do too. They bloom early, they survive longer. That don't really sound like a problem. But when they bloom early, and survive longer. They stay in the earth longer. They drink more water. We drink groundwater. Plants drink groundwater. The more water dried up, the more the land dries up, like the picture I showed you. It's going to be all dried up like that if we keep letting the plants, eat more than they're supposed to or drink more than they're supposed to. Plants also are a factor of the CO2 being absorbed. CO2 goes to the ocean, plants, and then the atmosphere. When the plants in the ocean exceed their limit, it goes straight to the atmosphere, and then the atmosphere causes a climate if it goes over a certain level, like it's been doing. But the thing is, the more CO2 the plants absorb, the bigger, thicker they leaves become. Thicker they leaves become, the harder it is for them to absorb CO2. How are animals affected? Just as we fight for the changes, like floods and stuff, just how we gotta survive, animals gotta do the same thing, but they ain't got all this technology and stuff. It messes with their survival instincts. It breaks their habitats. Some animals don't know how to survive. They gotta adapt. But the thing is, we adapt quicker than other animals because our high IQ. So some animals end up almost going extinct over this. According to World Wildlife, the temperature for sea turtles on the sand where they lay their hatchlings, it can change the sex. So it means hotter temperatures could affect what sex the sea turtle is because climate change. So that means if everybody was a boy or everybody was a girl, they wouldn't be able to reproduce no more, and then they'd end up going extinct. In conclusion, this is what climate change is to the world. It affects all aspects of life, mentally and physically. This is the destruction that climate change brings forth to the world, and it only gets worse. According to David Stanway, China's CO2 emissions were supposed to peak in 2030, but instead it's expected to peak in 2022. So we'll see how how climate change affects the world as time goes on. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Monica Height, and I hope you enjoy.